Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of Jash Reads. This time, Chapter 25 from Animorphs #1, The Invasion by K.A. Applegate. And yes, this is a Wookiee on my head. I sailed through the air and struck the closest Hork-Bajir in the chest. Down he went with me on top of him. He rolled over and tried to get up. He was fast. I was faster. He struck at me with his razored arm. I ducked under the blow. My left paw swung so fast, even I couldn't see it. It left 4 oozing tracks across the Hork-Bajir's shoulder. Another Hork-Bajir. Wrist blades, elbow blades, and talons whizzed. They were like a pair of lawnmowers on full throttle. And still, I was faster. I can't even remember what happened next. All I have is this image of the tiger. Of me. With claws slashing and jaws snapping. I was a whirlwind of orange fur, black stripes. The Hork-Bajir fell back. I roared. They turned and ran. On one side I saw Rachel. She lifted a Hork-Bajir up on her tusks and tossed him back over her shoulder like he was a doll. And then I saw Marco. Fake Jem's massive body was ripping its way out of Marco's slight frame. Just call me King, Marco said. King Kong. The truth is, like Cassie said, gorillas are very gentle, peaceful, quiet creatures. The truth also is that they are strong. Real strong. Basically, compared to a gorilla, a man is something made out of toothpicks. Now, Hork-Bajir are pretty large creatures. They stand about 7 feet high and are built for trouble. But Marco swung one big gorilla fist and hit the nearest Hork-Bajir in the stomach. The Hork-Bajir went down. Hard. I roared. Rachel trumpeted. Marco lifted the Hork-Bajir up and tossed him aside like a rag doll. The rest of the Hork-Bajir turned and ran. Now, I shouted, before they get organized again. We charged. Rachel just plowed right through some of the small sheds and buildings like Godzilla heading for Tokyo. Marco came loping along, swinging his massive forearms, punching anything that got in his way. Whatever he punched stayed down. And I ran right down the middle, looking for any controller dumb enough to mess with me. We reached the cages. The people and Hork-Bajir inside shrank back from us. They were almost as afraid of us as they were of the controllers. Let's face it, a rescue party made up of an elephant, a gorilla, and a tiger is not what they've been hoping for. Marco began ripping at a lock on one of the cages. The lock gave way. The door flew open. Marco did something very human to reassure them. He made a little bow, then crooked his finger at them as if to say, "Come on out." Tom was the first out. He looked scared and mad and determined. I was going to send him a thought message, telling him who I was, but suddenly there was Rachel screaming in my head. "Jake, Rachel said, "Look, Cassie." Cassie was nearly at the end of the infestation pier. The Hork-Bajir and Toxin guards were still sticking to their duties. As I watched, another human was shoved headfirst into the Yerk pool. "Cassie's next," I cried. "Don't worry," Marco said. "We'll take care of Tom. Go before they do it to her." I hesitated for only a second, as 1,000 thoughts went through my head. Later, I would think about that moment, think maybe, if only. I broke into a run. I had to get to her. As I watched, the two Hork-Bajir on the pier grabbed Cassie by the arms. "No!" she cried. I tore at full speed. I leaped over taxons. I dodged around Hork-Bajir. I practically flew. But I couldn't fly. Really fly. Not the way Tobias could. I saw him high up in the cavern. Down he came, like a bullet. The talons came forward. Tobias hit the first Hork-Bajir at about 50 miles an hour. He swooped away, leaving the alien clutching at the slimy mess where his eyes used to be. That was all Cassie needed. She broke away and ran back down the pier. I finally got there and went after the remaining Hork-Bajir controller. "Morph!" I yelled to Cassie. "Morph and head back for the stairs." She looked at the other humans and Hork-Bajir behind her in the line. "Run! All of you, run!" They did. Cassie plowed into the panicky crowd. Moments later, a black-maned head appeared above the shoulders of the crowd. Cassie had become a horse and was racing for the stairs. I started after her, racing back around the pool toward Marco, Rachel, Tom, and the crowd of hosts they freed from the cages. The controllers were starting to get organized. A group of Taxons were slithering out to stop Cassie and me. Both the Hork-Bajir and the Taxons were carrying weapons now. "Up and over," I said to Cassie as we neared the line of Taxons. "Up and over," she yelled back. I leaped. Cassie jumped side by side. We sailed over the startled Taxons. They fired their handheld Dracon beams. But too late. The beams sizzled the air behind us and we flew past. I could see Rachel's towering great bulk just ahead. The stairs were near. I saw Marco with Tom. We were going to make it. And then he stepped out dangly from a group of Hork-Bajir. He seemed almost harmless in his ant-like body. A gentle half-deer, half-human-looking creature with bluish fur and an extra set of eyes on comical stalks. The Sure 3 didn't look all that scary, not compared to the Hork-Bajir, the Toxons, or even our own Earth animals. But Fisher 3 had an Andalite body. He had an Andalite's power to morph. And he had been all over the universe acquiring the genetic patterns of monsters like nothing ever seen on Earth. A Taxon slithered up beside Fisher 3 and spoke. It was a weird, half-whistling sound. "Thrisa, Thrisul, Istru." Fisher 3 said nothing. It just looked at me with the vertical slits where his eyes. This toxin fool says you are wild animals, Fisher 3 said. He wants to know if he and his brothers can eat you. He laughed silently. But I know you are not animals. I know who and what you are. So, not all of you Andalites died when I burned your ship. It took me a couple seconds to realize what he meant. Then it hit me. Of course! He thought we were Andalites. He'd guessed that we were Morphs, not real animals. And he knew that the Andalites were the only species with morphine technology. I compliment you on getting this far, but it will accomplish nothing. Because now, my brave Andalite warriors, it is time. Time to die. He began to morph. I acquired this body on the 4th moon of the 2nd planet of a dying star. Like it. I realized I'd been wrong to be hopeful. We were not going to make it. Cut. That was a really happy chapter full of, happiness. I also want to say that next week will be the final 2 chapters of this reread of Animorphs #1, The Invasion by Kay Applegate. And after next week, I will be doing a little top 5 things that were really memorable to me about this book. Then a full gag reel, so all the bloopers, one nice reel, and then after that, the reveal of the next book. And I know people I've talked to have a general idea of what books I most likely am going to pick from. So, this was, it ended happy. I must admit, I really like doing Visher 3, just because I'll probably maybe figure out on a voice later on in series, because I think the voice of Visher 3 has changed now from time to time. Because I'm there's a person I don't like, and so when I do the Visher 3's voice, I just imagine that person. Ta-da! So, person that will be left unnamed, I don't like you, but thank you for the inspiration, even if it was unintentional on your part. So yeah, thank you. And bloopers will be released later, so don't worry. Don't worry, bloopers will be released. And if you're watching this on the YouTubes and I like this book, I actually would like to read it myself. Because remember, this is an adaptation. I am reading from the book, but I'm putting my own inflections. So, it is an adaptation if you want to read the source material and make your own opinions. A link in the description to buy the book, and if you're watching this on the blog, at the bottom of the post is a link to buy the book. So, yay. And if you drink alcohol, now you can take a shot of whatever alcohol is closest to you or your favorite kind or whatever. I drink sake. Drink. I thought I said eat for a second. Yeah, I drink sake. Drink, correct word. And so I'm going to pour a little shot of that. Now, if you don't drink alcohol for whatever reason, recovering alcoholic, underage, or you just don't like drinking, take a shot of water, milk, something actually healthy. And here's to be near the end of this reread, and thank you to everyone. The show's just can't believe it. And also, remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to this channel so you can get updated on when the next part's put out. So, and until next week, goodbye.